Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can we start with the Mangalacharan? Shashwin. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Shashwin, can you start with the Mangalacharan and then the recitation of the shloka for today?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Tadanti Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Gurun Shri Utapatakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajanam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvedam Swavadudam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Shya He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Kopisha Kopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurami Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kirpa Sindhubhayeva cha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Shashwin. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam and we are on Canto 1, Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is the prayers by Queen Kunti and the text for today is text 24. Shashwin, kindly read the text for us, please. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. Visan Mahagne Purusada Darsanad Asat Sabaya Vanavasa Krichrata Mridde Nikamahatasaro Draunasnyastratas Chasmahare Viraksite. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Shashwin, for the wonderful Mangalacharan recital and then the reading of the shloka, text 24. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of everybody who have joined the group, Prabhuji, and who are about to join. Prabhuji, we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam and we have finished reading 1.8.24. Shall we continue with word-to-word translation and purport, or can we hand over to you, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please have someone, do the usual word for word.
Okay. Is there any volunteer to do word-to-word? Okay, I can do word-to-word. Visak, from poison.
From poison.
Maha Agneha,
Maha-agneha,
from the great fire.
from the great fire.
Purushada,
Purushada,
the man-eaters.
man-eater.
Darshanat,
Darshana,
by combating.
by combating.
Asat,
Sat,
vicious.
vicious.
Sabahya,
Sabahya,
assembly.
assembly.
Vanavasa,
Vanavasa,
exile to the forest.
exiled to the forest.
Prichrata,
Pricharataha,
sufferings.
suffering.
Mrade, mrade,
Mride, mride,
again and again in battle.
again and again.
in battle.
Aneka,
Aneka,
many.
many.
Maharatna, Maharatha,
Maharatha,
great generals.
Great
great
general.
general.
Ashtratha,
Ashrata,
weapons.
weapons.
Drauni,
Brownie,
Brown,
the son of Dronacharya.
the
the
son of
son of Dronacharya.
Ashtratha,
Astra,
Ashtrataha,
from the weapon of.
from the weapon of
Cha,
Cha
and.
and
Asma,
Asma,
Ma,
indicating past tense.
indicating past tense.
Hare,
Hare,
O my Lord.
oh
oh
my
my
Lord.
Lord.
Abhirakshita,
Abhirakshita,
protected completely.
protected completely.
Hare Krishna. Do I have a volunteer for translation and purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes, I can do that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your service.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poison cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Aswatthama. But Vaishila Prabhupada ki jai. The list of dangerous encounters is submitted herein. Devki was once put into difficulty by an envious brother. Otherwise, she was well. But Kunti Devi and her sons were put into difficulty after another for years and years together. They were put into trouble by Duryodhana and his party due to the kingdom. And each and every time the sons of Kunti were saved by the Lord. Once Bhima was administered poison in a cake. Once they were put into a house made of shellac and set afire. And once Draupadi was dragged out and attempts were made to insult her by stripping her naked in the vicious assembly of the Kurus. The Lord saved Draupadi by supplying an immeasurable length of cloth, and Duryodhana party failed to see her naked. Similarly, when they were exiled in the forest, Bhima had to fight with the man-eater demon, Hidimba Rakshasa, but the Lord saved him. So it was not finished there. After all these tribulations, there was great battle of Kurukshetra, and Arjun had to meet such great generals as Drona, Bhishma, and Karna, all powerful fighters. And at last, even when everything was done away with, there was the Brahmastra released by the son of Dronacharya to kill the child within the womb of Uttara. And so the Lord saved the only surviving descendant of the Kurus, Maharaj Parikshit. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Divyesh Prabhuji. We hand over to you, Prabhu. Please accept our humble obeisances and thank you for joining.
All the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
We're continuing with our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8. Today's text is 24. I'll read the translation. My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle with great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwatthama. So we think we're having a hard time sometimes, difficulty. This is a long list. Many of us may know some of the Mahabharata story. So from their childhood, the Pandavas were repeatedly, their cousin brothers attempted to assassinate them, to kill them. That's pretty serious to have cousins who are trying to kill you. And you're living in their house. That's serious stuff. And as time went on, they became older, and Duryodhana tried to kill the whole family in the fire of the house. And there were dangers from cannibals, sufferings during their exile in the forest. Always, as we know, Duryodhana was plotting with Shakuni to get rid of the Pandavas. Of course, some of us may know that actually Shakuni's greater plan was to get rid of the Kurus, because he knew the Pandavas would annihilate them. So it was a very long-range, crafty plan by Shakuni. You have to be careful of tricky people. And during the battle, they were very much outnumbered. And somehow they came through it all. And then at the end, Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, who was on the side of the Kurus, Ashwatthama killed the 5 sons of the Pandavas, and then tried to kill Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson. So this is many, many years of challenging, difficult. We see, sometimes people in different countries, they live for years with civil war, terrorists, and they don't know if they're going to come back alive every time they go outside. So how is it, this is a natural question, and we've discussed it before, that how is it that these devotees of Krishna, such pure devotees, are having so many trouble? And I was thinking today, one reason we haven't discussed very much is that when Krishna sees that his devotee is willing to be used for Krishna's purposes without complaining, then Krishna will use that person. Just like in a business or even in a hospital, if there's some very difficult work that needs to be done, a manager will choose someone who's willing to do it without complaining. or who can handle it. So this is, of course, true with Krishna. He has his purposes to get accomplished. Who would like to share their understanding of the 3 or 4 main purposes that Krishna has in mind? What does Krishna want done in this world? Who would like to offer their understanding?
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृताम् धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय. So to annihilate the miscreants and to protect the devotees. And to uphold religion.
Right. So Lord Krishna tells us himself, as Arya Govinda Prabhu just shared with us in the Bhagavad Gita, to deliver the pious, parichanaya sadhanam, to destroy the demonic influences and principles and people, vinashriya duskritam, and to reestablish or maintain religious principles, dharma samsthapanataya. So this is the work of Krishna. It's not a mystery. Also, there's at least another major, it's kind of mentioned in that verse. Who would like to say something more of Krishna's, what Krishna likes to do or wants to do in this material world?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. What I understand is that if we surrender ourselves to Krishna and if we do unalloyed bhakti to Krishna, if we are pure devotees, then no matter what kind of trials in life we go through, he is always there to protect us and we should remain fearless.
Yes, that is very true. We have heard that. And Krishna enjoys taking care of his devotees. He's very keen on that. And Krishna wants to perform Leela so that his devotees can enjoy glorifying him. So that's another reason that he performs activities, it's part of pleasing his devotees, that he performs activities they enjoy talking about. And by remembering Krishna's activities and by understanding them, what happens? What are the benefits of understanding and remembering Lord Krishna's Leela? Who would like to talk about that? What are the benefits?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Well, remembering the Lord at any time during our lifetime is actually putting into practice so that you can remember him at the time of death. And if you remember him at the time of death, he has promises in the Bhagavad Gita that you go straight back to him.
Very good.
So one of the ways he's trying to, and sometimes I also feel that when he gives you problems or suffering, it's actually a blessing, because he wants you to, when your only hope is Krishna, you fully surrender to him, then it's a pure love and devotional, unconditional surrender you have, and easy way or the best way back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay, very good. Very good. Anyone else would like to add the benefits of meditating on Krishna and understanding Krishna?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Krishna has promised in Bhagavad Gita that whoever understands his leelas and pastimes are transcendental, and they are not of this material world, he will not take birth in this world again.
Yeah. What's that? Janma karma chane divyam?
Janma karma chane divyam. Yes.
That verse. Yeah. Anything else? Benefits of meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
So if we don't have a birth, then we will be saved from old age and disease and death as well. So meditating on the Lord will get all those out of our lives. So no birth, death, old age, and disease, and then we will be with Him
Yeah.
in Golok Vrindavan or wherever, Vaikuntha or wherever
Yes.
you
Krishna
aspire to be
in the
in Krishna
8th
Loka.
Bhagavad Gita. And also he mentions in Bhagavad Gita that Mam Chayo Vyabhicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Salgunan Samatitaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. That by meditating upon him, we become transcendental in our consciousness. We become uplifted above the three modes of material nature. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, we rise to the level of Brahman. So not just after so many years we get the benefit, but the more that we meditate upon Krishna and Krishna's pastimes, his divine names now, every day, that will uplift our consciousness and our whole being above the actions and reactions of this material world, and we will not feel them as much. But that's a great thing. You know, just like the doctor gives some pain medicine, sometimes something heavy like morphine, and the patient doesn't feel the pain as much. So this is very, very valuable gift of Krishna to his devotees. That so just like the Pandavas, if I were in these different situations, I might end up at the pub drinking. It's just so much difficulty. But the thing is because they are pure devotees and they are meditating on Krishna so much in love, they don't feel it as much as we think they might. That doesn't mean that they don't feel insulted or pained or hurt, but it's not as much as we might think. Just like Haridas Thakur, the great devotee of Krishna, he was in the Chaitanya Lila. So the Mohammedan government convicted and sentenced him to being flogged, being whipped in a very extreme way. But he didn't suffer as much as, he didn't feel it nearly as much as we might think he did. Same with Jesus Christ. You know, he was obviously in transcendental consciousness to be able to say, Father, forgive them, because they know not what they do. Sometimes people spread some bad rumor about us in the office and we get so angry we can hardly think. We get so upset, or says something about our children. So, but he was being crucified, and the Pandavas here, so many difficulties, real difficulties, having to see their wife, as those men attempt to strip her of her clothes, and losing in the gambling match by the trickery of Shakuni, and losing everything, having to go into the woods and sleep on the ground. I mean, if we can think about it, if next week we have to leave our flat and go just live in a cardboard box on the side of the road with our family, that would be so traumatic, wouldn't it? I mean, think about that. You know, next Tuesday, somehow the government forces you out and you have to live in a cardboard box or something, find a cave to live. That's very traumatic. So all these difficulties. So because of their pure devotion, they were willing to accept that somehow this is for the mission of the Lord. And so they were willingly participating. So that's one thing. that, as I started to say at the beginning, that as devotees, as we make advancement, we want to serve Krishna. We want to accomplish what Krishna wants. Not only are we just chanting our rounds and tending to our own Krishna consciousness, but we more and more, just like a good son or daughter or servant, we want to do what Krishna wants done with enthusiasm. And this is one of the symptoms of advancing in Krishna consciousness, naturally. And of course, sometimes there are significant physical difficulties, social difficulties, and even if we feel that way in our heart, we may not be able to do very much. But assuming we have, good health, and then one of the symptoms we'll see of an advanced devotee is that they're very keen to support and assist the preaching mission of Krishna. Therefore, in the Nectar devotion of the Upadeshamrita, when Srila Rupa Goswami describes the different levels of devotion, the Kanista Adhikari, the Madhyama Adhikari, the Uttama Adhikari. So the Madhyama Adhikari, one of the symptoms, because they have made more progress in awakening Krishna consciousness than at the Kanista Adhikari level, they are actively engaged in Krishna service, actively serving their spiritual master. And although in the Uttama Adhikari status, sometimes the devotee might be living in Vrindavan and simply chanting and hearing about Krishna all day, there is another definition of Uttama Adhikari, which is they are they have nothing going on in their life other than serving Krishna's preaching mission. Naturally, what else would they do? If we're in this material world and Krishna's corporate mission statement, just like you work for a company, they have goals. And so Krishna's goals is what we discussed. And so if we are an enthusiastic, we are participating in the business of Krishna, then we will be doing whatever we possibly can. And it's not a matter necessarily of how much, but of our enthusiasm to do it, which indicates our advancement of devotion to Krishna. Just like if we're married, so we cannot travel from place to place, giving speaking engagements and holding programs. We're working, but according to our enthusiasm, we will be enthusiastic that let me work every day, and whatever 5 pounds a month I can give towards the preaching, or 50 or 500, then I'll do that. And I get up every day thinking what I can do to help serve Krishna's mission within my family, keeping myself as pure as possible. So that's as our devotion increases, naturally we will be interested in doing Krishna's work and willing to accept, as Srila Prabhupada said, a headache. That's another symptom of our increasing devotion, that we are willing to accept headaches for Krishna. It's like managing a temple, or in the service of Krishna, taking care of a family. Taking care of a family is difficult. It can be very challenging, both for the wife and for the husband. But with devotion to Krishna, it can be even more successful married than without Krishna. Krishna explains that in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that in the mode, we talked about this a little bit last week, I think, that in the mode of ignorance, people are unmotivated, they're depressed, they're unenthusiastic, they don't want to do very much, depending, they just lay around, they have no ambition. And in the mode of passion, people get motivated that they'll get something. And in the mode of goodness, people are motivated by knowledge, that I must be good, I must treat my family right, I must do my duty. And then in devotion to Krishna, then we're doing things for the pleasure of Krishna, that I'm taking care of. I'm doing my wife responsibilities, my husband responsibilities, my child, in devotion to Krishna. So now we have two separate, in a way, in a sense, two separate types of strengths of devotion. That I must go to work every day because of, in an ordinary sense, I care for my family, but also it is my service to Krishna. So in this way, there is much more potential for, as Krishna says, in the mode of goodness, determination is unbreakable. Unbreakable. This is a symptom of sattva guna, that it doesn't matter this or that, good or bad, I must and I will do what I'm supposed to do because it's my duty. Whether I like it or don't like it is, if we can imagine that, is less of a consideration. And of course, all of us do this to some extent. Whether we like it or not, we study, we go to work, whatever it is. So this is wonderful. This is a very wonderful way to improve any organization, as we touched upon. A business, family, we want to have this most solid family life, then do what we can to inspire and keep our family in sattva guna. There'll be a lot less arguments. They'll be much more peaceful, much less chance of broken relationships. So Krishna consciousness is immediately effective. It's not just something for when we die. Not at all. If the more we are situated in the mode of goodness and pure goodness, everything will go much better. It will go as good as it can go for a human being. So the Pandavas, because of their pure devotion to Krishna, they were willing, they understood that this, and it's not that they liked it necessarily. You know, I mean, it's not that they just didn't have human feelings about it, but they're willing to set that aside, that this is for the mission of Krishna, and I will accept it. So another symptom of advancement in devotional service. And as we discussed, they did not feel these things as much as a non-devotee might feel them. And as we talked about, as we meditate on Krishna, really meditate on his bhajan and japa and the different descriptions in the scripture about Krishna, there is a verse we're going to hear that verse soon. I think it's 1 or 2 chapters ahead. So there's a verse that says that this is the divinity of the Lord, that those who meditate upon him become transcendental to the modes of material nature. So that's such an important verse, an important understanding. It's the same thing which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, that by really, if we actually absorb our thinking in Krishna, then to that extent, we will experience what spirituality really is. So let someone share what are the symptoms, what happens, what kind of emotions and feelings do people have when they're very much in the mode of passion? Who remembers hearing something or reading in Bhagavad Gita? What are the symptoms of someone's feelings, emotions, and thinking patterns in the mode of passion? Certain qualities of their character.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
First of all, I think the food that they like is different.
Right? Yeah. Do you remember any characteristics of the food?
If I'm not wrong, how is it? Sour chilies. Is that in Ignar? Pungent.
Too much, right? Too much.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else? Someone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Is it quick to get angry?
Quick
I mean,
to get
anger.
Yeah.
And envy, I don't know, I think envy, there's a bit of an overlap with mode of ignorance as well. But envy can also be passionate.
Yes. Greater tendency to be envious or jealous. What else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. When they are in passion, they work so hard, unlimited desires they will be having, and they will be longing for whatever they see.
So they become more lustful. They have strong desires to get stuff and have things and enjoy their material body. Right? Is that it?
Yeah. Yes.
So in the mode of passion, Lord Krishna describes our mind becomes more lustful and greedy. And of course, if the more we want something, if someone else has it, then we're going to get upset, right? If we don't really want things so much, then it won't matter. It doesn't matter. So according to the passion, there can be more jealousy and envy, more lustfulness. When something doesn't go our way, then because we have strong desires to have something, then if we don't get it, we get more angry. So these are some of the symptoms of the mode of passion. And we discussed in the mode of ignorance, tendency for laziness and depression and pessimism, and also anger, just being angry, bitter, hateful, violent. So by meditating upon Krishna, we rise above. This is the mechanical. These are the technical details of how we get rid of those things. If we see our mind is becoming more passionate, then we need to increase our meditating on Krishna. That's the simple solution to that. And of course, there are other things. Our diet can have a lot to do with the modes of material nature, as it was mentioned to begin with here, that in the mode of passion, there's certain foods our mind is attracted to. In the mode of ignorance, there's certain foods we're attracted to. So in this way, we can understand what's happening within ourselves, that, seems like I'm slipping down into the mode of ignorance. I'm sleeping more, and I feel pessimistic, and I don't feel enthusiasm to do anything. I'm slipping into the mode of ignorance, my mind, my body. Of course, it's not us. We're conscious of our body. We're conscious of our mind. So by meditating upon Krishna and following the four regulative principles, we rise above very much into more sattva guna. And the more we meditate upon Krishna, the more above we become. So we see, in our movement, we have the sannyas ashram, brahmachari ashram. And so in these stages of life, there is full freedom and actual full freedom to meditate upon Krishna. And it shows by the character of the brahmacharis and sannyas. And it doesn't mean that those who are in married life cannot achieve that. There may be more challenges. It is a matter of our sincerity and our determination to do so, to arrange our life so that we can meditate upon Krishna. This is why we don't want to have two jobs. This is why we want, as far as possible, we can have a good enough education so we can have the skills, so we can just have one job or a good paying job. That can be seen as part of Krishna consciousness, that I'm arranging my life so that I can have maximum meditation on Krishna over the coming decade into my 30s and 40s, and I can retire. So meditating upon Krishna has so many benefits right now, and of course, preparing us so that at the time of leaving this world, we can do that as successfully as possible. So we have these fabulous examples of Haridas Thakur and even Jesus Christ and other saints. And right now we're hearing about the Pandavas, that they did not give up their faith in Krishna. They did not give up their love of Krishna. They didn't succumb to, oh, why is Krishna doing this to me? So we are surrounded, or we can surround ourselves with very good real examples, historical examples. Our own Srila Prabhupada is a stunning, very bright example of pure devotion. Some of us may know he left Vrindavan in India at the age of 70 to come to America. That's a very amazing thing right there, that someone in retired life at the age of 70 would take such a difficult task of traveling to the United States, traveling to the West. He suffered 2 heart attacks on the way, and he wrote the most beautiful prayer to Krishna with incredible love and devotion, asking Krishna to engage him in the preaching work of Lord Chaitanya. So not just long ago do we have amazing examples. We have our own ISKCON founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, who in many ways, Krishna arranged that his life would be a very good example, just like we're hearing about the Pandavas 5,000 years later. So that's Krishna's arrangement. Maharaj Pariksit was cursed to die in 7 days. So, but we're hearing about it. So he is being used right now, this very minute, to inspire devotees of Krishna. So that can happen with us. You know, there are many devotees who have been through serious challenges, and they inspire us. They inspire us right now. So there's good opportunity to get strength if we want it. If we want enthusiasm, if we want strength, we can have it. It depends. We just have to arrange it so we can have that association by hearing. Or nowadays you can watch videos, movies and things about devotees. So I'll stop here. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for today's explanation on this text and putting things in perspective, bridging the gap between Arjuna and then our Acharya and then to us, and showing us the various spectrum. Prabhuji, I was yesterday on a 10-mile walk, and I had a devotee who asked me that her partner is in the mode of ignorance, and probably she's in the mode of goodness. And then, I mean, she was in the mode of passion, but now she's trying to be in the mode of goodness. And then she says, so I always remember tolerance. So I tolerate a lot of things that her partner subjects her to. And then she says, am I doing the right thing? Because the more I tolerate, the more lazy he becomes, or the more angry he becomes, the more he exhibits his mode of ignorance. So should I retaliate, or should I just be in the mode of passion and say, I'm doing this for Krishna, I'm tolerating. So I didn't know what to say. But
yes, that is that's not an uncommon situation, whether it's the man or the woman, or even if it's a young adult. who wants to be devoted to Krishna, and his or her parents are antagonistic. There are many situations like that. As Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, that as you surrender to me, so I will reward you. And something I had wanted to point out about the Pandavas, and that was in the verse of last week, that according to our dependence on Krishna, he that much more or less will reciprocate. So we keep this faith and we push ourselves. Krishna knows what's happening. He's in control. Let me just wait. Let me wait on his decision or wait on his will. Think about this, that the residents of Vrindavan, Kamsa began terrorizing them occasionally. And that went on for 11 years before it stopped. Prahlad Maharaj with Hiranyakashipu, it was 6 years. The demigods all went to Lord Brahma and they prayed to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu said, I will fix it. But it took 6 years. So things will change. That's what I'm thinking. But we may have to really practice patience and tolerance. And Prahlad Maharaj was terrorized by it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. It was difficult. The residents of Vrindavan, just because Krishna was in the village doesn't mean they didn't get scared or worry what was going to happen. So that's one thing, that in any kind of difficult situation, we can be more peaceful. I mentioned in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, I think it's verses 6 to 8, around there, Srila Prabhupada explains very good instruction for strength, that when the devotee is in a situation of reverses and challenges, the devotee should think, I deserve worse. But Krishna is so kind, he's making it less. And anyways, I must have done something to deserve this. So therefore, we can be more calm and peaceful instead of thinking, why is this happening? No, I must have done this to someone else. And I'm never going to do this to anyone again. That's how we are disciplined. That's how parents discipline their children, right? Their children decide, I'm never doing that again. So that can help us remain more calm and peaceful. Then the next thing that comes to mind is that when do we decide that it's too much to tolerate, that this is just too much? It's when we're overcome and we can't think, we can't work, we can't do anything. It's too much for us. And then we have to have a change. Although divorce is the very, very last thing that we want to consider, it's not entirely out of the picture, but certainly, and Srila Prabhupada would suggest it, is separate if possible. If a woman or a man is in a very, very antagonistic situation, they won't be compromised, and it's just too much. I'm going to live with my mother for a while. I'm going to live with my aunt, or whatever it may be. Even in ordinary counseling, we sometimes send a message. I'm serious. I love you. I care about you. I want our relationship to continue, but it can't go on like this. And it's not fair that I'm willing to compromise and you aren't. That's just relationship counseling. So if she may want to get, or he may want to get, just great practical marital counseling from a qualified person, that to inquire that I am in this, and it doesn't have to be a religious counselor. And these are just practical relationship counseling considerations. That I'm in this situation with someone who's antagonistic to my values, to my interests, I want the relationship, but please advise me. How do I deal with it? So I would suggest that either professionally or maybe a mentor who has senior experience with relationships. But we are duty bound. We are married, then we are married, unless the person becomes severely emotionally abusive or physically, or even a little physically abusive. We are not obliged to stay there. So it's different in every case. I don't know her. You know her better than I do. But we try and hang in there and get strength and stay as calm as we can, and try and correct the situation by getting good advice, etc. And if necessary, we have to adjust our living situation. In the case of a child, they're 17, 18, 19 years old, they're still living at home. What can you do? You just, in a few years, hopefully you'll get a job and you move out. You can't be offensive to your parents. What can you just do what you can? What else can you do? You do what you can do. Suffer and bear it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. I think Devesh Prabhuji has a question, but before he asks his question, there is another side to this as well. There was a devotee who asked me, so now that I'm trying to be, aspiring to be a devotee, and I've understood the principles, I'm trying to understand the principles of Krishna consciousness. I've realized the mistakes that I've made. So now what happens? Now I've realized that I've committed all these mistakes and I shouldn't have. And I should have done this and that and this and that. So now he's just realized this. So what should he do?
Well, we get a very direct instruction, a number of them, but in the Nectar Devotion, it's described that the best repentance is to be Krishna conscious. You feel bad, keep getting up every day, chanting around, making obeisances to Krishna. Be the best devotee you can. And, don't forget the past. Use that to motivate you. I'm never doing that again. And I'm not going to be very proud thinking I'm some great devotee because I'm chanting or wearing Tulsi beads or something. Just, I've done all these things. This is one basis of the incredible humility of devotees. They may be so qualified and have such good qualities, but they're thinking, oh, I'm such a sinful person. I was so sinful, and it's only by the grace of Krishna. So be the best devotee. Never fall into the trap of Maya. I'm so horrible. I can't be a devotee. No, that's just a trick of your own mind to avoid Krishna consciousness. You're so bad, good. Then be as good as you can be.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Devesh Prabhuji, kindly.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have 2 comments and 1 question.
3 for the price of 1.
Yes.
Go ahead.
My first one is just to add on what you said regarding what Mataji had asked. One thing that helps is serving prasadam to that, your better half. Over time, I've realized it has a great change. Number 2, at the same time with the prasadam, in the background, in your house, in your bedroom, when you sleep, on very, very low volume. There are many of on YouTube, you can get 10, 11 hours continuous mantra chants. You leave it in very low volume. It has an effect.
Yes, absolutely. Very nice.
So these 2, I think, can be implemented by the partner who's having a problem with the other partner. It does help greatly. Regarding earlier on, you'd mentioned about meditation on Krishna's name. One of the thing I'd just like to comment is that the Lord has given his name. There's no difference between him and the name. So even on this planet, he's there through the name. in the form of the name. So, and the most powerful absolute truth is nothing that can beat the name. So when we're meditating on the name, he's there with us at that moment. He's given us that form. We don't have devotional eyes like the way Arjun could see his original form in the Bhagavad Gita, but he has given us chanting of the name, which is the same equivalent to that as well.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
And my last question is, there's a beautiful temple behind you. What's the deity right in the center? We can't see properly.
Where? Behind the red flowers?
Yeah, just in the middle. Is that right in the
That's
center of the...
Sri Ganesh.
Sorry?
Lord
Ganesh.
Ganesh.
Lord Ganesh.
Oh, Lord Ganesh. I thought so from far. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. Hare Krishna.
Sandalwood Ganesha as well, under the red flowers.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for the darshan of your temple as well. Thank you.
I don't do regular puja, but I pay respect, and Srila Prabhupada recommends that one can pay respect to Sri Ganesh and ask to remove obstacles to one's devotional service. I need all the help I can get.
I think we all do.
We all do.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Are there any other questions or comments? It was an excellent class today. Can I request Arya Govind Prabhu to kindly end the session in that case? Please, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for this wonderful interactive session. You engaged all of us in, remembering the verses and remembering the different aspects of Bhagavad Gita, what we could remember. At least
just do all the work. We should all participate.
Yes. So thanks for that, and it helps to remind ourselves of all the instructions that Krishna has given, and all the things what Krishna has told us in the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, it is very important for us to remember these verses and the instructions. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Prabhu. Yes. Yeah, there are some things that we take it for granted sometimes. Oh, Bhagavad Gita is there, and then we don't recollect, or especially apply on a day-to-day basis. It was such a wonderful session that how passion works, how ignorance works, and then how so how to yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, if I may say, when we ourselves, or when someone comes to us for advice, although there may be a number of different ways to, that they can get support, the first thing to be Bhagavad Gita. How is your sadhana? How is your sattva guna? How is your willpower? All of this. And then there might be some other things that can help. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Yes. It all helps. Associating with devotees itself helps a lot to regain the consciousness. What we are going to the outside world, polluting our consciousness, and then coming back, and then getting recharged with the consciousness of associating with devotees. So that helps a lot. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. So I request all the devotees assembled here to unmute and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra once in glorification His grace. Dina Sharana Prabhu.
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Panchakaldeshu Vaishnavya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Dina Sharana Prabhu ki jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you very
Krishna.
much, Prabhu, for the
Thank
wonderful
you,
talk.
Prabhu. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.